There will be a looming showdown, in fact, tomorrow on Capitol Hill over the Iran nuclear deal. House Republicans holding a hearing on Tuesday. They're demanding that White House advisor Ben Rhodes testify. Congressman Jason Chaffetz overseeing that hearing, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, with me in New York in studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
This stems out of the Iran nuclear deal, but it's rooted in a New York Times piece from 8 days ago. What is the issue for you that you found?
Well, not only did Mr. Rhodes have great disdain for the process and the media, he said he could never have a dialogue with Congress, but what I think anybody who reads that article is left with is that they manipulated the public in such a way to form this supposed support for the Iranian deal that was not rooted in fact, and there are many parts of it that were not accurate, and that they pushed that in order to get this deal solved.
In your view, based on what you know, how did they manipulate either Washington or the media or the public or all three?
Well, they seem to put out a lot of false information. They did that through what they called an echo chamber, where they would basically feed information to friendly reporters. They would then repeat that and try to make that the narrative. And it wasn't necessarily true. And you also have things that Secretary Kerry and others had said along the way that aren't necessarily true. So it's one of the most important things in foreign policy. Let's make sure we get it right. And that's why we invited Mr. Rhodes to come attend.
White House says this. Eric Schultz, the Iran deal was debated on screen now and scrutinized for months last year. Republicans had vowed to block it, could not muster the votes to do so, and are now seeking to relitigate that old political fight. Will you have Ben Rhodes appear?
Well, we've invited him. He's given every indication that he will attend. They haven't said that he won't attend. He said he couldn't have a dialogue with Congress. We're going to provide him that. We were taunted from Josh Earnest at the podium as saying that perhaps we should have Senator Cotton and others invited. So I accommodated that. We invited Senator Cotton. If Mr. Rhodes is there, Senator Cotton will be there as well. And Ben Rhodes is highly capable. He should be there to defend and talk about the Iranian deal.
Will you, if he is not there, issue a subpoena?
Maybe. It's a definite maybe. I mean, I have that ability to issue a subpoena. I hope it doesn't come to that, and have no indication that I would have to do that.
Have you looked into the State Department briefing when the timeline was asked, at what point did the conversation begin with the Iranian leadership? Was it 2011? Was it 2013? Was it 2014? Have you determined when that began?
Well, again, based on what we heard from the White House, this narrative from the president and his advisors said that it started in 2013. And I think based on fiction, they said that, well, there was a new moderate regime that was coming into place. That's not true, evidently. That had started prior to this, and the much more aggressive part of the regime that they had been doing these secret negotiations. Let the truth prevail. That's all we're asking for, and that's why we need Mr. Rhodes to be there.
Do you know why the State Department removed that section from the briefing?
I don't know. I mean, that's the scary stuff. When you have the executive branch suddenly take out an 8-minute clip because it doesn't fit their narrative, it just adds to this wonderment of what in the world is the White House doing. And they have a history of this. They have misled people on Benghazi. They misled people on a host of things. And here we go again, and we're going to get to the truth.
Last thing, on the money. How much money did Iran acquire? Was it $150 billion, or was it $100 billion? Was it $50 billion? Because the White House is pushing back strongly against many of your colleagues, suggesting you've got the numbers all wrong. What is the number?
Well, again, why we need Mr. Rhodes to come before the Oversight Committee, because $100 billion is based on numbers that are not just direct payments, but indirect payments as well. The use of a dollar is also another topic that we need to talk about. Were they dismantling the infrastructure? Again, another topic where Secretary Kerry has not been consistent. So there's a lot to talk about.
Well, here you're challenging the White House on this. Your response to Josh Earnest on Twitter: Dear Press Secretary, Senator Cotton will testify if Ben Rhodes, Rhodes 44, is man enough to show, let's discuss the truth, end quote. A bit of pejorative.
Well, and Senator Cotton said, you know what, you better man up. If you want to put on a uniform and go out there and worry about Iran having a nuclear weapon, providing weapons and other systems to people, then maybe you should do that. So the White House mocked us, taunted us from the podium, and said, well, maybe you should invite Senator Cotton. We did. We accommodated that, so they'll all be there.
The hearing is tomorrow. We'll see how far you get. Jason Chaffetz, thank you for your time today. Nice to see you.